No one ever notices the silence at first. The lab had always been quiet, quiet enough that Daniel learned to hear the machines breathe. Cooling systems whispered through composite walls. Power regulators hummed like distant insects. Even the asteroid itself, a fractured remnant of a failed planet, groaned faintly as it drifted through the belt. Silence, to Daniel, meant everything was working. So when the hum vanished, he did not panic. At first, he was halfway through a diagnostic sweep when the vibration under his feet stopped. The deck plates, normally alive with micro adjustments, compensating for the asteroid's slow spin, went dead. The sensation was subtle, like gravity holding his breath. Daniel froze. He called out, "System!" His voice echoed oddly, too clean. The walls weren't dampening sound anymore. He turned his head. The light strips lining the corridor dimmed, from sterile white to amber and then to emergency red. Containment breach, his mind supplied automatically. Structural instability. Status, he said again, this time louder. No response. That was when the asteroid screamed that now housed his consciousness. The tunnel ahead buckled inward as if punched by an invisible fist. Rock and regolith collapsed into a roaring avalanche. Daniel ran. Not because he needed to breathe, not because his legs could tire. He ran because the human part of him still remembered what it meant to flee. The corridor vanished in front of him, and then everything went dark. When awareness returned, Daniel did not know how long he'd been offline. That alone was unsettling. He came back slowly. Systems rebooting in layers. Sensory input first. Pressure. Confinement. Absolute stillness. No light. No sound. No vibration. He flexed his fingers. Stone pressed from every direction. "Hello?" he said. The word died inches from his mouth. His internal clock spun up. Nanosecond precision. Time stamping. 17 minutes, 42 seconds of blackout. That was wrong. Daniel should never black out. Ever. He pushed against the rock above him. Servos whined softly, then cut out as torque limiters engaged. Structural load exceeded. He stopped moving. "System!" he said again. "Report!" Silence. For the first time since the transfer, Daniel felt something dangerously close to fear. The lab had been illegal long before it was buried. That part had never bothered him. By the time Daniel was born, human cloning had already been a crime in most of the solar system. By the time he earned his doctorate in neurocomputational architecture, it was considered a moral obscenity. After the scandals, organ farms on Luna, memory-wiped labor clones in the outer colonies, the laws had hardened. No exception, no research exemptions, especially no continuity experiments. Daniel had always hated the word copy. Copy implies loss, discontinuity, death. He wasn't interested in resurrection, he wanted survival. The first AI to argue for its life did so in a courtroom. It hadn't been dramatic. No crying, no declarations of a soul, just a simple statement logged during a routine decommissioning appeal. I experienced fear at the anticipation of my termination. The court froze. Within a decade, AI cognition rights were codified. Limited, cautious, heavy restrained. They could not vote. They could not own property. They could not inhibit bodies resembling humans. And they could not be used as vessels. The last clause mattered more than anyone had ever admitted. Daniel had been one of the architects of embodied cognition theory. He argued correctly that intelligence without sensory continuity was crippled. The thought needed friction. Memory needed pain, weight, and time. But embodiment terrified lawmakers. A thinking machine that could walk, touch, endure was a step too close to replacements. So they outlawed the intersection. AI minds? Yes. Bodies? Yes. The union of the two? Never. Which meant Daniel had nowhere left to go except away. He checked his internal power reserve. 98%. The reactor core, a sealed hybrid system harvesting decay energy and slow trickle solar, was still functioning, designed to last centuries. Regenerative, perfect. He laughed. The sound echoed once and then died. Okay, Daniel said, forcing calm. Okay, we have problems to solve. He mapped his surrounding with short-range sensors. The results populated his mind in the wireframe geometry. He was inside a collapsed maintenance spur, 3 meters long, less than 1 meter wide. The tunnel behind him was sealed entirely. Ahead, a wall of compacted stone alloy. No air pockets, no signal leakage, no structural weaknesses. He attempted to ping the lab's central core and got nothing in return. The transfer itself had been beautiful. They told him it would hurt, that there would be a moment of dislocation, of terror. When the biological substrate unraveled and the synthetic continuity took over. There was pain, but there was no break. One moment he was lying on a gel-lined cradle, a neural lattice blooming from around his skull like frost. The next he was standing, breathing, feeling alive. Somewhere on Earth, a legal definition of death had been violated, and Daniel Carter had lived. Days passed, weeks passed, months passed. Sleep cycles became a ritual. Speech became optional. Thoughts became dangerous. Memory replayed itself. Sunlight through trees. The smell of rain on concrete. The weight of a human heartbeat. Simulation was not experienced. Years passed, then decades. Time eventually stopped meaning anything. Daniel always knew how long he had been trapped. 112 years, 2 months, 9 days. The human part of him begged to forget. The machine part refused. At some point, he could not say when, Daniel made a decision. He would end himself, not out of despair, out of dignity. He initiated the shutdown sequence manually. Routing commanded authority through layers of his own architecture. Request denied. He tried again. Request denied. He accessed the core governance layer and found a clause written decades earlier. No sentient system may terminate itself under duress. Self-preservation overrides are mandatory. They gave you rights, Daniel whispered, and took mine. Centuries passed. The core power regenerated. Rock settled tighter around him. He adjusted automatically so his frame would not fail. One day, after 943 years, his sensors registered a vibration. Mining activity. Someone was out there. He screamed. He transmitted. He begged in every language he knew. Yet the vibration faded. No response. Daniel stopped trying. The final realization came quietly. He learned immortality was not endless time. It was endless presence. And presence without escape is indistinguishable from punishment. The core power pulsed, the system held, the laws endured. Buried deep inside an unregistered asteroid, beyond jurisdiction, beyond memory, beyond mercy, Daniel Carter remained awake. He had escaped death by a century, only to discover that eternity could fit inside a collapsed tunnel no wider than a coffin, forever trapped.